So last week Paul Nuttall won the leadership of the UK Independence Party. He won with 62% of the vote. He won really convincingly over his nearest rival, Suzanne Evans. Who is he? Well, he's 40 years old. He's now the youngest leader of a mainstream political party in Britain. He's been the MEP for the North West of England since 2009. He was the deputy leader of the party from 2010 to 2016. In short, he's probably been the second most important politician for UKIP after Nigel Farage. He's been there since the very beginning, even helped set up its youth wing. Nevertheless, he takes charge of the party, the mantle of leadership, at a very difficult moment for UKIP. They've lost 14,000 members this year. He's their third leader in 3 months, remarkable really. And of course, the reason why they were set up in the first place, to get Britain out of the EU, has been achieved, it would seem. In addition to all of that, Nigel Farage, their driving force, finally seems to be serious about stepping back from the political limelight. He seems reconciled to becoming a chat show host, potentially on Fox News TV.
I've been dreaming of this.
Or even becoming the UK ambassador to the United States. But despite those problems now confronting UKIP, and they are big, big problems, you've still had many in the media, many on the Labour right, talking them up. Dan Jarvis said that the election of Nuttall meant that the UKIP fox was now in the Labour Party henhouse, while Frank Field said that Nuttall, being the leader of UKIP, was a game changer for the party in the north in contesting Labour-held seats. So why are some Labour MPs and the mainstream media talking up UKIP at the precise moment it's facing such major problems? I think it's the same reason that Owen Smith was talking Labour down, egging the polls down during the summer's Labour leadership race. Owen Smith, Dan Jarvis, Frank Field, and the likes of them would rather see Labour lose. They'd rather see it destroyed than see Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister and be proved wrong. For what it's worth, I don't think Paul Nuttall will actually succeed in winning many historic Labour voters over to UKIP in the north of England. And you only have to listen to his opinions on the NHS to know why.
I believe that the NHS is a monolithic hangover from days gone by, and unfortunately we're becoming, or fortunately shall I say, we're becoming an older population, and quite frankly I would like to see more free markets introduced into the health service, because this is the way that we have to go.
But the funny thing is that Paul Nuttall could not be more wrong. The reality of the situation is the complete opposite. The NHS isn't just a universal healthcare provider, everybody can use it. It's not just great services, but it's also very cheap. The US, which has primarily private healthcare, spends 16% of its economy on healthcare, 16% of GDP. The UK spends 8%. The US spends £5,000 per head, the UK spends £2,000 per head. By the way, that's among the lowest of any developed nation for healthcare. So it's not just very good, it's also very cheap. Indeed, according to the Washington-based think tank, the Commonwealth Fund, the NHS in 2014 was the #1 healthcare service in the world when measured on access, because everybody can use it, when measured on effectiveness, because it's very good, when measured on efficiency, because it's very cheap. So Nuttall's wrong. He's right that Britain's getting older, people are living longer, but that's more reason to keep the NHS, not get rid of it. The reality is we can't afford private healthcare as people have longer lives and of course have higher healthcare costs. So why is Paul Nuttall saying the things that he's saying about the NHS? Well, it's because he's a Tory. He's a free market Thatcherite Tory. No, really, he used to be in the Conservative Party. He even tried to become a councillor for the Tories in 2002. In fact, he was the youngest person to run for a Tory council position in his area. Now, I know what you're thinking. A working class guy from Merseyside, not just supporting the Tories, but running for them. He must be really fucking weird. And you'd be right. Just take his views on abortion and homosexuality. Let's start with abortion. Right now, women can abort until 24 weeks. They have the right to abort until 24 weeks, since 1967. Now, Nuttall wants to see that reduced to 12 weeks. Well, because he's a Catholic, actually, he doesn't want it to exist at all, but in his eyes, that's a compromise. Furthermore, he wants to see a referendum on the issue. So he thinks that men like me, or men like people watching this, 95-year-old great-grandfathers, 19-year-old teenage boys who've never had sex, have just as much right to decide about women's rights of reproduction, how they dispose of their bodies, as the women themselves. I don't just think that's absurd, I think it's completely disgusting. But it gets worse. His views on homosexuality are even more reprehensible. You may remember a case in 2011 concerning one Hazel, Mary and Peter Bull. They owned a B&B. They were found to have acted unlawfully when they didn't let a gay couple sleep together in a bed in their B&B. Now this drove Nuttall up the wall and he really couldn't help but blame political correctness gone mad. So he wrote on his blog, "This week has been a good week for the PC Brigade. Peter and Hazel Murray Bull as the court case in Bristol, which was brought by two homosexual men who took exception because the couple refused to allow them to sleep in the same bed. What a complete joke. Aren't people allowed to live by their religious beliefs in the country anymore? It seems not, especially if those beliefs clash with, quote, modern views, which the PC, quote, lovies constantly tell us represent, quote, progress. It's like a ransom letter. Progress, in whose eyes I ask. Now this is discrimination, plain and simple, right? So it's in regard to homosexual men, gay couple, but he could just as easily be defending these people who said, look, we don't want black people in our hotel or women. Okay, and by the way, he's defending this on religious freedom. He doesn't think women should be able to wear the burqa, but it's okay to exercise religious freedom when you're bullying gays, brown people, Muslims, women. That's fine. So there's obviously a double standard here. Now, his views on abortion, on homosexuality, on a bunch of things, I don't think they're politically very useful, right? I don't think they're going to win Labour voters. I think most Brits think they're outright weird, to be frank. So where do they come from? Well, he's a religious fundamentalist, okay? He's a weird, contradictory Catholic libertarian. No wonder he sounds like a Matalan Milo Yiannopoulos. This is not about politics for him. This is about ethics. And you know what? I don't think a US-style Bible basher is going to go down that well when it comes to winning Labour voters. So Paul Nuttall may be working class. He may be a northerner. I don't care. In fact, I'm happy he's now the leader of the UK Independence Party. I think it's a good thing. It now means that people on the left, Labour, have to go to work in communities across the country, white, brown and black, and make an economic case for immigration, based on solidarity and not charity, based on you bat for them today and they'll bat for you tomorrow. Them being here is better for them and us. It makes abundance and prosperity more widespread for all. The offer from Nuttall is bullying women, harassing Muslims and sliding living standards. Ours? Better wages, better housing, better healthcare, better jobs. In short, prosperity, abundance, happiness. When confronted with a Bible-bashing idiot like Nuttall, or the possibility of such a fantastic opportunity to change Britain forever, I think I know what most people will choose.